In this session we'll see some DOM operations, how DOM elements can be accessed and the kind of operations that can be performed on DOM. These are the things we'll see in this session. DOM operations can be classified into two main categories: modifying existing DOM and adding new elements to DOM. So it's to modify the existing ones, like changing their colors, and either you add new elements or remove elements from DOM. So these are the two different categories we have on using which we work with DOM. Before we move on to the actual topic, let us understand some concepts that are used in performing operations on DOM. The HTML elements can be accessed in TypeScript in two ways, using non-DI and DI, dependency injection. So like the HTML element that you see on the HTML file, this li, this can be accessed in the TypeScript, and this can be done in two ways, one non-DI and the other DI. How this can be achieved? To understand that, we need to have a basic idea of some terminology like element ref. In both the above mentioned ways, we need element ref, an Angular provided class from Angular core, which gives access to simple HTML elements like span, div, etc. through its native element property. So if you want to access any of these HTML elements that are on HTML file in TypeScript, you need to use this class element ref. The other term we need to understand is template reference variables, are reference names that begin with hash. We already used this in the ng template ng-if, wherein we started a name with a hash. Those are called as template reference variables that are given to HTML elements. This is the same name that is used in component, that is the TypeScript. So you say something like this in HTML for an element, you say hash name, and this is what you are supposed to use in TypeScript, thus making this HTML element available in TypeScript. Native element property, by using native element property, the DOM element can be accessed. So these are the terms that we use in accessing a DOM element in TypeScript. Okay, so we'll try to access a DOM element using non-DI approach. Let us have a p tag and some text like this is a para tag, and this p tag, now if you see, is on the browser and also you see it on DOM. Okay, now how do I get this tag in TypeScript? In JavaScript, this can be achieved in two ways. One, using document.getElementById, let element equal to document.getElementById, or even by tag we can say, but we'll use id, and I give an id over here, id equal to PID, and I give the same over here, PID, and I save it and say console log element. Let's see what element has in it. Save this. See, PID, this is para tag, as it is, what you have placed on in the HTML file. Instead of this ID is, apart from that, you see everything as it is. Now the other way is to have query selector, and you say P, or the ID starts with hash PID, using the ID, and you save it, and you see the same thing again. So these are from JavaScript. How the same thing can be done in Angular. To do that in Angular, we need to give template reference variable, which is hash pname, and this is the same thing you need to use in TypeScript, and we need to use view child. Here it's the same thing, p name, what you have given over here, it's the same thing, and you say p name of type element ref. Now let us try to see what element ref has in it. If I save both the files, let's see in console, ELE is not defined. Okay, so this is what I need to use, this dot p name. Save it, and in console you see ELE has element ref. Open this and you see native element, this is a property, and in native element you see all these things, and see text content, this is a para tag. Now I'll have this as it is, and here I say this dot p name, and now I'll say p name dot native element, and the same thing I'll have it over here, p name dot native element, and let's see the output for these two. So when you directly print the native element, you see the same thing that we saw for get element and get element by ID and query selector. This is how you can get an HTML element into TypeScript, and you can also do some operations and manipulations like, and I'll have one more statement, native element dot text content. Let's see what this says, dot text content. Save it, and you see text content prints the text available on the HTML element. Now what I'll do is, I don't need all this anymore, these are for our understanding purpose. I won't be having any of these, and instead I'll have a button like change. Save this one, and you'll see the change button with name change over here. Now in here I'll have a click event, and when this event happens I'll call on change. Save this, let's have this method on change, and in this I'll say this dot pname dot native element dot text content should be, the value is changed, and if I save this and come to the browser, now when I click on change, I don't need this, observe this, when I click on change it says the value is changed. So when you get an HTML element, its reference in TypeScript, dynamically you can perform certain changes to DOM. So this is all using non-DI, and we'll see accessing DOM elements using DI, dependency injection approach. To access DOM elements in DI, we need to use a constructor injecting an element ref object and the native element property coming from the object. So we need to use constructor now. Till now we saw different types of hooks, lifecycle hooks that Angular has given. We never discussed anything related to constructor because in Angular constructor has a special role in which this is the area where we list out all the dependencies that we need. So that's the role of a constructor in Angular. Constructor is a function that gets called when the component is loaded and takes the responsibility of providing or injecting the dependent objects. So what all you list or the dependencies that you need, if you list them, then it's the responsibility of constructor or the framework itself to provide all the dependencies. And in this particular example we need or we are dependent on element ref. So what we'll do is we'll have a private reference element ref of type element ref. Now in ng-on init, when you say console log, say this dot element ref and save it, see the DOM, you again have element ref. Again you follow the same thing, element ref dot native element, save it and see, and now you can say element dot text content, save it again. So you are now able to refer the HTML element in TypeScript, and again you can change it, like if I say I assign it some other value, new value assigned, now save this, you see new value assigned, but in HTML what did I say? This is a para tag, so we are changing it, and you see this is a para tag, and then we have done a new assignment. So in this way also you can access HTML elements. In the next session we'll see a new class again given by Angular, using which you can perform DOM operations.